It's the KFBK Real Estate Show on News Talk 1530 KFBK.
Well, good morning, everybody. Going to be a gorgeous day. I thought it was going to rain. No way. Not up here in Northern California. That wouldn't happen on a wonderful Sunday, which is, especially during the Auburn Home Show and all these great open houses that are going on. It's 67 degrees 5 minutes after the hour. I'm Terry Knight, host of the Real Estate Show on KFBK. Officially, Mr. Doug Birch, my partner, and co-chairperson of the American Dream Team here at KFBK. 10 years ago, just about today, is when we first went on the air with the KFBK Real Estate Show. And we've got some special guests today, Doug. You and I have talked about this, and that big article in yesterday's Sacramento Bee, the real estate section, on Forma Home Systems. We're providing edge panel packages and factory-built, kind of the technology that started in Sweden and now dominates home building there, and is becoming more and more prevalent and high profile, and someday will probably be dominant here among home builders. But we've got the Forma Group and principals with the company. We've got Michael Murray, who's the CEO, and Reed Gustafson, who's the chairman. So we got the big cheeses here. So we'll get the real story. You know, we don't have the PR people. We don't have the marketing folks. We got the
guys that own the company.
Yes, where the buck stops, right? Huh? Anyway, they're going to be here. And, folks, this is a good opportunity to listen to what probably will be the future of home building. So it was really a good opportunity to get the folks happen to be in town, especially Reed. You know, Reed is it's tough to find him in town. He goes all over the world, Sweden and everywhere else. But we've got Mike and Reed both here today. Yesterday I'm reading the Sacramento Bee, and I'm reading this great article with a photo. And here's this. Have you been out to Morgan Creek?
I have.
All right, I was out at Morgan Creek, and here's all these homes going up. It's just a beautiful community.
Great golf course.
Oh, is it ever. But great community in Roseville. But anyway, you're out there, and it's like, what's wrong with this picture? Or what's right with this picture? Here's these people framing these homes going up, and then all of a sudden I look over, and there's this crane. And this crane is lifting these factory automated, modular panels, and they're lifting them through the air and down onto what will become a custom home. And I started talking to the folks. I went onto the job site and met these folks ultimately that we have on our show today. My guests today are principals with the Forma Group, Forma Home Systems, which is probably, I think you could speculate, you could look in the crystal ball and say it's probably the future of home building. Michael J. Murray is the CEO, and S. Reed Gustafson is the chairman, and I believe was the originator of this vision, which became a reality. And I mean, in Sweden, let me just tell you, in Sweden, 80% of the homes, this is how they're built. And now more and more folks, and I know that they are the factories. There's a lot of questions I have for them. The factories in Sweden, but I know they have a big operation in West Sacramento. Like I say, the first two homes that I know of are going up, Doug, in Morgan Creek. Why don't we bring our guests on?
That sounds good.
Let's do it. And by the way, if you want to, once we get things going, you hear a little bit about this. It's just amazing. Whether you're just a consumer, a homeowner, but especially if you're a builder, developer out there. We have a lot of those folks. By the way, speaking of builders and developers, congratulations to C.C. Myers. The Myers Group won all kinds of name awards for Winchester, that fabulous community. You heard Tom Sullivan talking about it.
They've been around a while.
Yes, they win a lot of awards on. It's a great community. All right, here is, I just love it when we go out of the box and have a new concept and something that is already working. I mean, this isn't like somebody came up with this idea at Starbucks last week. This was come up with a long time ago. It's been implemented and very, very successful. And from the Forma Group, I want to welcome you, Michael Murray and Reed Gustafson. Welcome to KFBK. Now, let's make sure your mics are on and that you're real close to the microphone over there. These CEOs and chairmen, I'm telling you, Doug, you got the mic. The mic, because they have these PR people. They can afford to go out and do all this stuff. But it's really, really good to have you on the show. As you know, I was impressed. And I asked a lot of questions when I saw the crane, building that home with these factory-built components. Now, first of all, why don't we just, either one of you, give us a little background on Forma Home Systems, Forma Group, where the concept come from, and tell us a little bit about what do you do, and what are you going to be bringing to the home building table?
Well, I'm Reed, and Mike is my counterpart over here. We have been interested in coming up with a system that would improve upon the quality of the homes from a typical, what we call a stick-built home on site. We've been doing stick-built homes for as long as I can remember, and I retired 5 years ago from Shea Homes.
Oh, that's right.
And for 40 years prior to that time, we've been doing typical subdivisions on site, all stick-built. There has to be a better way of doing it, faster, cheaper, and better quality than what we've been doing for all these years. I became aware of the Swedish system. It's actually broader than just Sweden. It's all the Scandinavian countries, and now into England and down into the main part of Europe. But they're building houses, thousands and thousands of them, using a factory method. But it's not necessarily a modular concept. There are lots of modular concepts all around, even locally here. But this system takes a panelized form of factory-built housing, and we build the house in segments. And it's built on a table. It's done with using a CAD system for the design. We design the whole house individually, and then it goes through the factory, and we can produce it in a day or two right in the factory. And then we shrink wrap it like a lot of things do. We put it on a truck, and in this case, the two houses that we're doing locally here, we actually built them in Estonia and put them on a ship and sent them over here, and our costs are less than what we could do it stick-built on site.
Even with the shipping?
Even with the shipping.
Wow. That's amazing, isn't it? That is amazing. You know what? I've got tons of questions for you. I know Doug does, and I'm sure our listeners will have them for you. Can we take the break now? Good. We're going to take a quick break here, pay some bills. This is going to be a great show. We've got the Forma group on, Forma Home Systems, which is really the future of home building, I think. And we're going to have your questions, all you want, in fact, or anything you'd like to talk about. 921-1530, 800-834-1530. Stay with us.
The KFBK Real Estate Show. Keep listening to News Talk 1530 KFBK.
And welcome back. The show is moving on a very fast-moving American Dream train. Easy for me to say, huh? This is the Real Estate Show. I'm Terry Knight, along with Doug Birch, and we're having this is a pretty exciting show today because we've got the future on. We have new technology on. We have visionaries on that are probably going to be household words in the near future in the home building industry. And because of the product being better and less expensive, that's a good thing for us, we consumers. Michael J. Murray is the CEO. S. Reed Gustafson is the chairman of the Forma Group. Forma Home Systems, big article in the Sacramento Bee yesterday regarding this new technology. And very good to have you here with us today.
Thank you.
Now we've got a lot of questions, but real quickly now, I know the homes at Morgan Creek. Those two homes aren't cheap. Now you can do anything that's a stick-built home, whether it's a $250,000 or like you have one you just completed that's a couple million in Danville. You were telling me, and the ones in Morgan Creek are just gorgeous. I mean, they're beautiful. My question is, can you produce any designs from the builder's architect?
Yes, we can. This is Mike. We can produce anything the architect can design with limited exceptions. If you're looking for a castle tower, we'll probably do that on site. But the balance of the home, we can produce to your architect's specifications. That's the beauty of the panelized system.
Right.
Reed had mentioned modular earlier. Typically, modular homes come out and you pick a page 7 of the catalog and go for that.
Right.
Panelization means you take each wall and build it separately, and you build it like Legos. So we can do pretty much what your architect envisions. In fact, architects love us because you get exactly what you say you want.
Panelization as opposed to the modular concept of the past. And once again, my architect then, Reed, as you said, gives these plans to this unbelievable custom home vision idea that he has, and you do the rest. You go to the CAD, you put it on computer, and you can just about produce anything.
That's correct. What we do is we design the whole home in CAD. We take the structurals from the engineer, the architectural drawings, and then produce very detailed CAD drawings of the whole house, and we produce a virtual model of the house.
Now, we've got a lot of calls coming in. Now, you're going to be confused with factory-built homes. Like you said, that have certain models that they made. You can choose from A, B, C, or D, modular homes. A lot of folks can say, "Oh, here we go. That's what they do." Not that that's bad. I mean, that's wonderful. We just did that big home show at CalExpo, but that's not you. You can customize these components to everyone's dream home. Am I correct on that?
That's correct. That's the critical difference between panelized housing and modular housing.
All right.
Also, our form of construction is just like it would be stick-built, but we're using dry lumber.
Right. Well, we got a lot of calls coming in. Let's go to line one. Ron's calling from Sacramento. Ron, welcome to KFBK.
Hi.
Hi, Ron.
I was wondering what the difference was between a panel-built home that I know back in the 70s I worked as a kid sweeping up a shop around a place in Elk Grove called Pacific Modern Homes. And they built panels on tables the same way, and they built the trusses in shop. They shipped it out and they put it up. It was 235 government homes, basically, is what they did back then. Is that basically the same way you're doing now with the panels and then putting them together?
I'm familiar with the company you're talking about. We have the same approach. It's both panelized. The difference with the Swedish system is it's highly automated, and we do use all dried lumber, which provides, frankly, a huge labor savings and a significant material savings, and much higher quality because, frankly, machines don't make mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, it's all factory where you're saying that they're doing it with like robots or something where they're going through like a assembly line, you're saying.
Exactly. 1.5 to 2 people will build a 4,000 square foot house in 2 days.
Oh, okay. Well, that's kind of what I was wondering. And is this, you said you're bringing this in from another country that they're building them out of the United States?
Currently, because we had a series of items that we wanted to shake out before we built our factory here. But right now we are in the process of building a facility up in beautiful Fernley, Nevada, outside of Reno, to serve basically the western U.S.
Well, I'm glad to hear you at least bringing the jobs back home here.
That was our goal.
Okay, well, great. You kind of answered my question, and thanks. Sounds like a really good system. Thanks.
Ron, thanks for calling. Yeah, we're bringing the jobs back here to America. Now, our next challenge is to bring them into California rather than have them going to Nevada.
We're gonna have to talk to Arnold about that.
Yeah. Well, he's trying, but he's got a lot of challenges that he's running into. So
Mike,
hopefully it'll work out.
I've got a question for you. This week there was an article in the Sacramento Bee on stacked homes in West Sacramento. There was a 3-story stacked home. Now, how does that differ from your product?
Well, the article you're referring to talks about what amounts to a modular system, and again, that's half a house or a portion of a house coming out in one piece and being stacked on top of each other. There's nothing wrong with the system. I mean, that's a perfectly valid way to build a house. But it's got significant design limitations. There is not a lot of automation used to build them. It's primarily guys in a warehouse with nail guns. You get an improvement on stick built that way, but not to the extent that we can provide that. And frankly, we're cost competitive. So,
when you bring a panel in, what does a panel consist of?
The panel consists of frame lumber, sheathing, insulation, doors, and windows. The windows are installed in the panels in the factory, and that's how we can close up a 4,000 square foot home in 5 days.
And the sheetrock also?
The interior walls are sheetrocked on one side. Each panel is closed on one side because we're bringing it in from Europe right now. So the building department can come in and inspect as a standard stick frame inspection.
And they probably love you guys because they know what to expect.
Well, well, it's exactly right. I mean, you get what the CAD says you're going to get. So you
right.
better want what you want.
Well, the other thing, Doug, is that I read that I thought was interesting is that they use dried lumber. And so why does that matter? Why would my listeners care about the dry lumber?
Well, because it makes my life easier, but perhaps that's not the right reason. No, the reason why ultimately the consumer, the home buyer, cares about this is typically we stick frame with green lumber, which has a high moisture content. And over anywhere from a 60 to 180 day period, when the lumber dries in the home, it changes shape. So you're going to get popped nails on the sheetrock, cracked around the door corners and things of that sort, leaky windows. I mean, this stuff was the bane of reed resistance for 40 years at Shea.
Right.
So, we basically deliver a dried lumber which does not change shape.
Well, we've got Cliff calling from Cache Creek. I'm gonna ask Cliff to be patient. We've got to take a break for news real quick, and then we'll take Cliff right after the news. He's calling regarding this. We've got the Forma Group on the show today. This is very, very interesting. I just love this, Doug. This new technology and out of the box thinking and stuff that will be, I'm sure, the future. And by the way, you can call them at 925-820-7663. Or go online, www.formahomes.com. You know our phone number, 921-1530, 800-834-1530, star or pound 1530 on your cell phone. Doug and I'll be right back. Stay with us.
On the radio, it's the KFBK Real Estate Show on News Talk 1530 KFBK.
And we are back. What a great show. 68 degrees, 32 minutes after the hour here at News Talk 1530 KFBK. I'm Terry Knight, host of the Real Estate Show right here at News Talk 1530 KFBK, along with Doug Birch and some really special guests today. So glad I got them on the show. The two top dogs, the top cheeses, the top of the pyramid of the Forma Group, Forma Home Systems, who you're hearing more and more about. Big buzz on these folks and what they do and what they're bringing to the home building industry. I've got Michael J. Murray, the CEO, and I've got S. Reed Gustafson, who I'm surprised is even in town. He travels all over the world. Who is the chairman of the Forma Group, and really good to have both of you here. Real quickly, I do want to talk about something. Speaking of traveling, Doug, we talk about Olson & Fielding Mayflower, and just that obviously they're the best. They're the top moving company in Northern California, and they are the go-to folks for the real estate industry and the relocation folks and all of that stuff. That's been going on for years. But I got to tell you, Tim McGuire, who's the principal over there, sent me some photos that gave me mixed emotions. He sent me photos of my daughter who is getting married and moving to Sydney, Australia. Daughters of her all nice sealed crates. He sent me some photos of the actual crates that are being put on the boat and shipped over there. And one thing about Mayflowers, I know they're going to get there, they're going to be safe, everything is going to be in one piece, and it's going to be delivered correctly, properly, and professionally.
You better not show those photos to your wife.
It ripped my guts out. I was really happy to see it, don't get me wrong, but it really sunk in. I mean, oh my gosh. Anyway, trained professionals, state-of-the-art equipment facilities, free estimates, competitive pricing, and they are in the storage business too, so you need to ask them about all of that. And they've got a lot of great, great deals. I will tell you this, though, and I will put out a warning. If you're planning on moving even this summer, you better call them tomorrow morning. 916-383-8800, toll free, 800-992-7844, Olson & Fielding Mayflower. They are the best. All right. Someday I'll be saying that about you folks. Once you're a household word, and I think that builders and developers have got to, and they are, and they're on our show a lot, and they participate both, if you will, from an advertising and for a lot of reasons with Clear Channel and KFBK. And the builders in Northern California are out of the box. They are constantly looking for better mousetraps and ways to cut costs of the outrageous, out-of-control appreciation of homes. Don't blame the builders. With their fees, Doug, I mean, I can't believe what they're going through. And this is a great, fabulous new mousetrap, if you will, and it's a great alternative. And I have to believe that those forward-thinking builders in the building industry and community is really going to take a really good look at this and go forward. Cliff's been so patient. Cliff's retired, and he's calling from Cache Creek. What a great place. Cliff, welcome to KFBK.
Well, how you doing, Terry?
Good, sir.
See you again. Yeah, I've been in the Carpenters Union since in and out since 1959 in Southern California,
right.
Orange County specifically. And back in the mid and late 60s, we started using these panelized buildings for a lot of big builders down there. And they'd bring them in on a flatbed, just the wall frame. They'd have the siding and the windows and doors in, and then they'd stand them up with a crane. We went as high as 3 stories with them, but they were the same as stick frame. And then I've done a lot for Lewis Homes in the 80s in Vacaville. And we called it table framing on the job. And you put everything in there.
Right.
Kennel-dried lumber, and guys would walk down and hydraulics and squeeze everything together with nail gun on each end, bang, 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 number the wall, and then go and stand it up on the slab.
Right. And what's your question there, Cliff?
Anyways, about these panelized roof walls you're bringing in, you said with the windows and doors, do they have a 20-year depreciation period on them just like a modular home? In other words, that they're worth zero, except the ground's worth something under them?
No. It's a completely different system than modular. The only thing we share is a very broad name of factory-built home. The panelized home is built exactly framed in the same way you would expect to see a stick-frame home built. In fact, the quality is better. So, no, it is not depreciated and handled in the same way. It's financed like a regular home. It's not anywhere at all like a manufactured home like you're referring to.
They're not licensed or anything like the modular homes and stuff.
No, and they don't have wheels on them either.
And no steel frame underneath them?
No. Big difference.
Same thing as doing it on the job, except it's quicker and easier.
Yeah, exactly right.
Well, I appreciate that because I'm getting ready to sell my ranch. I understand Terry's a real estate investor. He might be interested in buying my 23 acres up here.
Well, we'll talk later, Cliff. How many cattle do you have up there?
None. It's certified organic farms.
Oh, cool. Uh-oh. Don't let Farmer Fred hear that. He'll be... Yeah, let me know. Cliff, give me a call during the week, and I'll talk to you about that. All right, sir. Thanks for your call. By the way...
Thanks for calling back.
Thank you. If you miss any phone numbers on this show, you can call me anytime. 916-213-3300. And, of course, Doug, it's better to go direct with Mr. Doug Birch of Mortgage Consultants Group. That company's been around for 3 decades, and everyone knows his phone number, but his cell phone number you can get from this show, which is 916-768-9369. Doug, speaking of financing and lending and mortgages, how does this, if any, affect...
It doesn't sound like it'd be a problem at all. I mean, you're talking about Morgan Creek. Those houses out there are selling between $600,000 and $1 million. And those will be financed the normal way through Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, or jumbo loans. So I've not heard of any problems whatsoever with financing and anything like this.
Absolutely. Something that is better quality and is less expensive, I don't see how that can't be a winning formula. Now it is interesting, and I do have the question on the fact that it's done overseas and in Sweden, but it will be moving over here. By the way, that doesn't matter to me. That doesn't bother me. I mean, my home is my home. I don't care if it comes from Mars, the parts, and it's put together in Australia. Doesn't matter.
The quality's there.
You bet. That's my American dream. That's my white picket fence. But anyway, I do have a question for you, and that is, now, how fast can you? We talked about the speed and how much quicker you can erect a home. How much faster is it? Can you compare it to like a normal home that someone goes down with the architect, buys the land, and decides you want to build a home?
The primary difference is in the erection of the home.
Right.
When the foundation is poured to when the trusses are rolled and the home's dried in, that's the comparison that we make. Typically, we went in a Danville home that we completed. It was about 6,000 square feet. We went from foundation to truss line in 2 weeks, and the trusses were rolled another week. So call it 3 weeks to dry in a home versus 3 months if you were stick framing the same home. And that was with a crew of 4 as opposed to a crew of 8. So there's significant time and cost savings.
Very good cost savings.
In Morgan Creek, one of those 4,000 square foot houses was done in 5 days.
That's amazing. Yeah, I'll tell you, there was a lot done just while I was there. I mean, it was amazing.
Well, I think people should go out and take a look at this.
Oh, no question.
Just so the proof, pudding. What did they say? The proof is in the pudding there. Go out and take a look.
Well, if you want to see it, it's on our website as well. If you go to formahomes.com and click on the Morgan Creek, you'll see the pictures of the process in action and some video.
Absolutely, and you can call them at 925-820-7663. Gosh, I got a lot of questions for you. Our phone number, by the way, 921-1530, 800-834-1530, star or pound 1530 on your cell phone. The calls are coming in, so be patient. We're going to take a quick break here, and then I'm going to talk to you about do only large custom homes. That's what we hear about. These $1 million homes. Is that the only type that we're dealing with here, or can some normal person like my Uncle Ernie go out there that just wants to do a 300,000. We'll talk about that right after the break. This is Real Estate, so stay with us.
Real Estate on the radio. It's the KFBK Real Estate Show on News Talk 1530 KFBK.
And we're back, 69 degrees. It's gorgeous this Sunday morning. Welcome to the KFBK Real Estate Show. 44 minutes after the hour, I'm Terry Knight along with Doug Birch, hosting a show that is very exciting, getting a lot of phone calls, innovation, technology, and the future of home building, possibly, not possibly, it will be. It's going to happen. And we've got the principals, the top folks, the CEO and the chairman of the Forma Group, Forma Home Systems, which is the latest buzz among home builders, it's panelization as opposed to modular components that are factory built, if you will. And we're getting a lot of phone calls. Our number is 921-1530, 800-834-1530. Gosh, Reed and Mike, really good to have you here on the show today. And I knew this would generate a lot of calls. Well, let's go to Orangevale. Martin's calling on the cost of all of this. Martin, welcome to KFBK.
Yeah, hi. I was wondering, I saw your website. It looks like you built large custom homes. I was wondering if you had anything. Can this be designed with any plan that you have? And what's the cost comparison?
Yes, it can. We work with your architect and your engineer to produce your home. Now, whether it's 1,200 square feet or 6,000 square feet, we can do either one. It's all a question of how many walls and how many square feet of floor you desire, so we can do that. In terms of the cost savings, typically it would be in the Sacramento area probably 20 to 30% cheaper per apples to apples, framing package to framing package. On the whole house, you're talking probably 8 to 12%. Cheaper overall. So those are rough numbers. Each house is different. Each particularly custom home is a different animal. And we will provide you a specific quote that you can then compare to stick frame or whatever other approach you care to use.
Mike, before the crane shows up, Mike and Reed, before the crane shows up, what needs to be done? What's the minimal needs to be done at the site?
Well, we need to have a good foundation to work with. There's some fixes that we can propose in the event you unfortunately got less than stellar concrete guy. But primarily it's the foundation and the mud fill. That's it. We move from there.
Right. So I would assume that with the architect, you would have some stipulations too, like saying, we got this quality product, this is how it is, and you need to do something different, special, because of our product.
Actually not.
Really?
The architect typically, it's the engineer that we need to talk to about that more than anything else. But by and large, with either the architect or engineer, there's no special requirement. We're going to frame the thing the same way that anyone in the field would frame it. We're simply doing it with machines.
The home builder, and I wondered this, Doug, the home builder, you mentioned engineer. Now, when I think of home building, I think of having an architect and a general contractor. The general contractor goes and gets his subs and does this, that. But now we're talking an engineer. Is that the key guy as far as this new technology? Because some of these folks aren't familiar with this, and that's why I said, do they have to do anything special?
No, we just need to work with the structural engineer who would be on any plan in California, Nevada, and Oregon.
Gotcha.
Who is specifying shear wall and other things. We just need to be sure we understand what they require. Because ultimately, we're building the home that the builder, the architect, and the engineer want us to build. We're agnostic. We want to build what you want. We're not going to sell you what we want like a modular home builder would do.
Can you use any type of foundation on this? Slab?
Broadly defined, yes.
So it can be slab or raised foundation?
Either one. There's some questions with post-tension slabs that we would need to be careful addressing, but by and large we can use any foundation.
Is there, other than California, are there other states that are using your system?
We're working in Nevada right now because that's where our manufacturing facility, unfortunately, would be because I live in Danville, so it's a long commute.
Mm-hmm.
But working in Nevada, Southern Oregon, Arizona, and Idaho to a small degree.
So this is fairly new to America, basically.
It is.
The system isn't necessarily new, but we haven't utilized it here in the United States. There's a little bit on the East Coast that is being done this way, but primarily on the West Coast, we've used the stick frame process. And so all we're doing is getting the technology from Europe and applying it here.
How long have they used it in Sweden? Do you know?
It's probably in this form, what would you say, 20 years?
20, 25 years.
And 80% of the homes, I'm told, 80+% of the homes now use this system. Now, before we go to Francesca, who's calling from Sacramento, on that subject, Reed, So why did Sweden come up with this? Now we're the great innovators. We're the great innovators in home building. How come Sweden came up with this and we didn't? I mean, what's going on there?
Well, I think if you look at the geographics of Scandinavia, they don't have a 12-month year to work.
Oh, okay.
And they have to figure out a way to build during the wintertime.
Yeah, get them up quick.
So this system worked beautifully for them, but it also works for us.
Right. Well, it's an exciting system. And on that note, let's go to Francesca. She's calling from Sacramento. Welcome to KFBK.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning to you.
My question this morning was, can these...
Francesca, just turn your radio down a little bit, then we won't be echoing.
Okay, let me go over here and do that.
Yeah, we sound like we're in one of those big pipes out of that construction zone, out of Morgan Creek, So,
right.
Are you back? Okay, Francesca.
Is that better for you?
Yes, that's better.
Can the panel homes, can they be duplexes or apartment buildings, or are they just limited to single-family residence?
No, we can produce pretty much any wood frame structure that your architect and engineer can design. The only question is how we work with a post-tension slab, and that's unlikely for duplex, so that would be fine.
Okay, thank you very much.
And it's amazing to me, Doug, all of these reasons to do this, all these positives, and you're still less expensive.
It's a result of automation and bringing some of the technology planning methods used in other kinds of manufacturing to the home business. Our labor is about 50% cheaper or more because we're using a lot of automation, primarily to get the quality.
Right.
Labor saving is an add-on. And we can plan our material usage a lot more efficiently. In fact, we're a green facility in that we have a waste factor of maybe 5%, and all that's recycled versus 18 to 25% on a job site, which is thrown into a landfill. So
right.
On top of that, we're kind of a green facility as well. We use the sustainable forestry in our lumber suppliers. So all in all, we try to present not only a cheaper, better solution, but a socially responsible one as well.
Well, I'll tell you, with everything I'm hearing about with the depleting forest and all of this other stuff, a lot of things are making sense here. Big question here. I don't want to put you on the spot. How's builder acceptance been?
Tremendous. I mean, one of the things that's important to builders is turning their capital faster. In using our system, a production builder can, there's a large example that we've researched, they have an average applied capital of 5.3 months. Using our system, they get it to 2.8 months. And you can imagine what that does for their bottom line.
What type of builders are you going after? The medium builder, the small builder, or someone like U.S. Homes or
Well, our initial business plan had us for the next 3 years focusing primarily on custom home builders. The guys doing anywhere from 1 to 50 homes a year. But we have, back to the acceptance thing, we've been pushed into talking to some large, medium and large regional builders already. Simply because the advantage is so high, they're interested in capturing as quickly as they can. We're negotiating a letter of intent with a builder who does thousands of homes a year currently. And that was a nice surprise for us because we felt we would be 3 years out before we were able to do that.
Right. Well, I think we better strike up the band and take a quick break and come back with, my gosh, only about 6 minutes left, Doug, and I've still got about 11 questions left. I don't know how we're going to do this. One of the ways that we can do this, though, is to give them a call anytime. The Forma group is, you can reach them at www.formahomes.com or their phone number, 925-820-7663. If you miss anything on the show, call Doug. You want to know about loans and all this 5.5% good stuff, give Doug a call at 768-9369. Real estate will continue, so please stay with us.
You're listening to the KFBK Real Estate Show on News Talk 1530 KFBK.
We are back. I can't believe how fast this show has gone. Here with the Forma Group today, Doug and myself, Terry Knight. This is the Real Estate Show. Really good to have you. Now, if we don't get to your call, if we didn't answer your question, we're going to be around and we'll be able to answer your calls as long as you want. We'll stay here as long as you want. However, having said that, you can also call the Forma Group. We'll give their phone number and website out. Questions that I want to ask, but real quickly, how can they get a hold of you, Reed and Mike, and find out more about this? And should they be talking, our potential home builders, our homeowners should tell their builders to tell their architects to get a hold of you?
Yeah, that's exactly what they should do. We're at 925-820-7663. or our website is www.formahomes.com.
Absolutely, and actually it was a great article. If you've still got the Saturday Bee, look in the real estate section. It was a great article on these folks. If you want any more information on them, you can call me too at 916-213-3300.